Welcome to tonight's Tuesday touring car race rewind. Tonight we're going to be at Apricot Hill Raceway and we'll be doing the night race. And Grim, as always, will be joining me.
Good
Grim,
evening. How you doing?
pretty good. And yourself?
Doing outstanding. That was I think the best word to describe Tuesday night was expect the unexpected. Having that track compared to the other three races that we did, having this track to wrap it up really mixed things up in the standings and on the track. But I had a blast.
Yeah, it was a mind blower for me because my pit strategy was out the window as soon as we started.
Yep.
It was craziness, all the different pits.
And just to educate for those that are not familiar with the series, we run two different race compounds. We run these cars with a race hard and race soft. You can run, you can start the race on either compound, but you do have to make at least one pit stop, and you do have to change the tire compounds during the race. So you really have to think about what tires you want to be on, how long you want to run them for, with the tire and fuel settings set to very fast and at Apricot Hill. And for those that have run this track in any other form of cars with tire settings set to fast or very fast, this track is just absolutely shreds tires like it's no tomorrow. These big sweeping turns where you're in those corners for what seems like for minutes is just brutal on the outside tires. And this car being front wheel drive, no exception. So it threw a couple people. I think the tires in this track threw some people off. They weren't expecting the kind of tire wear that we saw.
Yeah, I think a few of them actually practiced on fast
Fast.
settings instead of very fast settings. So when they came in and they found that out and they started to experience it, it was a whole
Oh.
different ball game from there.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was quite the experience actually, because even when you knew it was coming, it was still tough to deal with.
Yeah,
I
you really
found
go ahead.
I found that to be tough. It
Yeah.
was it was it was
You had to race the
fun.
track. You had to race the track. You couldn't. You had to be careful and not get involved in a heated battle with somebody because you were going to fall out of your strategy real easy. You had to be real mindful of your tire wear. But yeah,
But
this was
even at that, there was many battles. Though it was always a battle
well,
with
we're all racers.
everyone.
We're all racers. It's hard to race a track and not. It reminds me of like the NASCAR, the Darlington track, where you got to race that track. So
Yeah. Well, this Apricot Hill, and we're doing it in reverse
yep,
too. So that made it even more interesting at night.
yep.
It's a high speed course, and it's got moderate to pretty good elevation changes, and it's got some pretty decent technical sections. Them high speed turns.
Yeah.
And the S bends and
Yeah, and
stuff.
there's a blind turn on this track. I mean,
Yep.
reverse doesn't get a whole lot of love or a lot of play in the reverse format, but I actually like the reverse format. I think it's more technical because of the back half of this track on some of these corners, and we'll talk about it
Oh,
as
that
we go
that
along.
S bend. I was having fun with that all night. Okay.
So yeah, we had our normal group. We were a little light this week. We only had the 13 drivers. It usually happens towards the end of the season. But let's said this was reverse grid. Um, so we had Goofy leading the field with Euclid, Centaurs, yourself, Desert Penguin, Parcells, Cape, One Space, Grandpa's Money, Warden, Tap Out, myself, and Vic. And actually, there was a slight glitch with this lineup. I actually had won the second race, but because it was so close, the game actually recorded Vovik as the winner, and thus with the reverse grid, Vovik was at the rear. However, when the green flag started, I did fall back behind him to make sure that he had the proper position on the track at the start.
Okay. That's your story, right? And you're
That's my
sticking
story.
to
I'm
it.
sticking to it. I have a
Uh-huh.
video replay that shows that I won the second race. So
Uh-huh.
one of the few that Vivek did not win. So and my only win of the season. So I'm taking that one.
Well, at least you screwed up his season like he screwed up
Yes, we'll talk about
Parker's. Yeah,
that.
yeah. All right, so
Right.
let's get this race going,
Yep.
and we'll see how it turns out.
And we did have, it looks like somebody did have a false start. It looks like Centaur's had a false start at the start of that. We're coming up to turn one, and this turn one was actually, it's nice and wide, but you had to get single file coming up to this really tight chicane.
Yeah, look at the cars go through there.
Yep.
And look at how clean it is.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
And it looks like Vivek was able to, or Tap Out was able to go too wide through there with what it looked like. I thought it was Grandpa's Money. This was also a nice corner that you had to be careful with your tires, because if you came into it too hot, you were really going to scorch that right front tire just coming into it hard. So you had to come in relatively smooth into it. And then this was the key corner all night.
Yeah.
And I know from my personal experience, when I was going through this corner, the only thing I was looking at was my left front tire, making sure it did not turn orange.
Yeah.
You could easily overturn that corner and just be smoking that right front or left front. So you had to be really mindful of it.
Yeah, and mine usually was showing color. Yeah, I wasn't having a good time trying to save tires here.
Yep.
Yeah, it was chewing them up and spitting them out. I know that. And I tried to stay on hards all the time because, man, them softs.
Yeah. Softs you could get during my practice. You could get about 6 laps. 6 laps was the absolute max I could get effectively out of the tires without having to give up too much time babying them. My strategy, for the most part, was running about 5 laps on softs twice and then 8 laps on race hards.
Oh, there's some nice action there.
Yep, there is.
Tap out.
Tap Out and Desert Penguin.
Mm-hmm. One space and Cobb. Cape.
Yep.
They're in there too, you know.
And again, such a critical corner right there. I mean, we're only a lap into it, and he's already down to an 8 on his left front. And that corner that's up at the top, that was that blind corner that you had to turn in before you saw the apex.
Yeah, because boy, you got up to the top and tried to turn, boy, you were going.
Yeah, if you waited until you saw the corner, you were too late.
Yeah.
Ooh, a nice 3-way battle coming into turn 1.
Yeah, look at that. Very nice.
Oh, 4-way if you take that out. Now, fortunately, turn 1 is nice and wide.
Yeah, look at that.
But you gotta get it resolved.
They got through there.
You gotta get it resolved. And they made it through, it looks like, cleanly.
Wow, look at that.
Yep.
Fantastic. Man, I bet you that was fun.
Yeah, that was a nice move by Desert.
Yes, it was.
My guess is that he was on race softs. And it looks like Tap Out is also on softs. I'm not sure what One Space and
let's check.
Oh, that was you. You were involved in that.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, you were in that. Yeah, so that must have been fun.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that was your car there.
I didn't either.
Well, oh man, you were putting some pressure. I was
watching the racing.
Oh.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I was on his butt like white on rice. and because of the section we were going through, I couldn't hit my marks.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anything. And it made me almost have a real bad one.
Yeah.
I did go off a little bit, but
But it looks like the top guys are on soft tires. So you can see on the map they're starting to separate out. But still, the battles are still really tight.
Ooh, look
Uh-oh.
at that, DP.
Whoa. That was interesting. You don't see that too often with this all-wheel drive car. You can usually get a couple tires off in the grass and it will recover. And he's just trying to get back into a rhythm at this point. Oh, we got a little bit of shoving going on there.
Yeah, a little bit. That's some hard racing.
And Tap Out's still trying to get around.
He's right there. He's trying all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
You see him trying all different kinds of lines, trying to find something extra. Or... Look at this.
And One Space has got some skills. I mean, he puts up a really good fight. But he's also very predictable. I enjoy racing with him. And you can see we're in just now in lap 5, and Euclid is already into the pits. So he had to have been on race softs.
Just a little bit there.
Yep. But Euclid was the first one to go into the pit.
Pressure back on Penguin.
Yep. And you can tell, look at the tires for One Space. All that battling has got his left front down to 3. Because you're having to, when you're battling that side by side for that long, you're having to cut corners a lot tighter than you normally would.
Oh yeah, you're definitely, yeah.
Oh, and Desert's tires are even worse. So. But then he had that big long spin going into turn 1. That will definitely attribute to some tire wear.
One Space just went to 2, so.
Yep. It looks like Tap Out's gotten around both Desert, so I would expect to see. Yep. But I'm surprised Desert didn't go into the pits.
Look at him. He's at 2 and 5.
He's at 2.
Yeah.
But he's got a whole lap to go on. Oh no, he's down to 1.
Yeah, he just clipped the 1.
Oh, this is gonna. That big long sweep is gonna be painful. Yep. Cape's moving up now. All these guys. Yeah.
Cape's on 6 and 8.
But they're all on hards too, so.
Yeah.
They should be coming in.
He's going to get trained right here.
Yes, he is.
He is going to get trained right here. I know the feeling. I've been there before. There's not anything you can do about it either.
No. All he's doing right now is trying to go.
Trying to work to get back to that pit. Yeah. Please get to the pit before I get run over.
It'll be interesting to see how much time he loses. Now, the good thing about it is that he'll have 1 lap fresher tires than everybody else on the race softs. But yeah, he's already caught. Vovik has already caught him. And now he's going to try and get into pits as quick as easy as he can. It looks like Warden is also ducked into the pits.
Yeah, he has.
He's a little bit early for race hards. He's on lap 6.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. I was during this race, I was mentally exhausted at the end of it. At the end of the night, because you're seeing everybody darting into the pits and trying to figure out, okay, who's on what tires. And usually in the previous races, it's pretty easy. If somebody was in, there was usually about a 5-minute gap between the race hards and race softs, but with this race, people were in all over the place, so you had a real hard time judging who was on what strategy. At least from my perspective, anyways.
Now, I see how you like to dart outside and come back
No,
in.
that was a mistake.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was a mistake. I wanted to do a out and in, but I went way out too far. I broke a little bit too late. I was trying to set up a pass
Grandpa.
on Grandpa, and it did not work out. So that was a failed attempt, and making sure I didn't pile into the back end of him.
Now, why would you want to pick on Grandpa? Poor Grandpa,
Hey, I'm a grandpa too, so
yeah, welcome to the club.
yeah. Although I don't have Grandpa's money though.
No, I don't either.
So this is lap 7, and I'm also darting into the pits here. This was a tight. The first race went 18 laps. The second race went 17 laps, barely 17 laps. I think I finished with like 2 seconds before when the timer ran out, or the clock counted down and put us on the last lap. So I rolled an educated rolling of the dice to say, okay, this was going to go 17 laps as well. So I went with lap 17 or lap 7 on hards, and it worked out well because nobody else pitted with me. So I had to clean in, clean out of the pit stop, and then I just had to go twice on race softs for 5 laps each, which was my normal pace. So, but if we had gone 18 laps, I would have, 1, I wouldn't have had enough fuel, and 2, my tires would have been worse than Desert's was. So it was all or nothing.
Yeah.
But it looks like Vovik has now taken the lead.
Yeah, he's out there.
Yep. But I'm expecting him to come into the pits anytime now. Pretty much everybody that's out there needs to make a pit stop. And the only 3 that haven't yet is Vic, Cape, and Grandpa's Money. Parcells was sneaky this race too.
How so?
He was after this pit cycle. You see, all 3 of them are in. Yeah, Parcells is going to assume the lead after the first rounds of pits, and he's actually got quite a gap on one space at this point. So he had checked out. He must have gotten through the field okay, with little to no fuss. And it was good to see him leading the race once again. He had a not a bad season, but it was not what I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit better finishes from him this year. So from my perspective, it was good to see him out front. And at this point where I was at, I didn't think I was going to catch him, and the only person I was thinking that would have a chance would be Vovik or Tap Out.
Yeah, he had a good night overall, and
yep,
it got him into the Wednesday night race.
Yep, as a high finisher overall. So, which was good because the only race he was going to run on Wednesday nights was the Spa race. So it was good to see him take advantage of that little feature that we have.
Yeah, it was good to have him out there on the track.
Yep. So right about now, it's starting to settle down a little bit. Everyone's done their next stop, and so you have some different pit strategies once again.
Okay, let's see what we got back here. You see a lot of cars grouped.
It's Vovik making a pass on
Euclid.
On Warden. Or Euclid, yeah.
Euclid. Euclid's has had some pretty good outings lately.
Yeah. It's also good to have him back at racing both on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. He took a couple months off for various reasons, but he's now come back, and he's actually running on a new wheel and rig now. So was predominantly a controller user. Now he's on a wheel. So as you and I both know, there's ramp-up time for that, but he seems to be picking it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, he was talking to me the other night about the differences and how, on some tracks he's still faster on the controller.
Yeah.
On some tracks he's faster, with the wheel.
Right.
So, and he's having a hard time just letting it totally go,
Yep.
The controller. but he'll get there where he won't even bother with the controller anymore.
Yep. This was a great track for passing. You could set up coming into turn one. There was probably about 3 or 4 spots where you could make a pass with little to no fuss. And Vovik was able to make the pass on Warden. And Parcells is now in the pits for his second pit stop. And with 15 minutes to go, my guess is that he's going to be going to race hards to finish out the night. He's done about 5 laps on each set. And that's the danger with this track. If you pit early, a lap early, you've got to make tires stretch somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely. That one, just 1 or 2 laps, man.
Yep.
Difference on the tires is pretty incredible.
Yep. Looks like Grandpa's Money has just made a pass on you, but you're not wanting to give it up. But you then tucked in line.
Penguin's
Wow.
right there.
Penguin's on.
Yep.
I think Penguin's on fresher tires.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yep. And it looks like Euclid has made it because he was one of the early ones that pitted it as well. And at this point, Vovik and Tap Out now have Rias in the lead. They've made their way through the field. And what's interesting is you'll notice Parcells is now in 10th place. But after this pit cycle is done, it'll be interesting to see where he comes out of. So mentally, you had to not worry about where you were place-wise on the track throughout the race. And not get stressed out saying, oh, wait a minute, I'm down in 10th place. I got to push even harder to get it. Because people have got to make pit stops. I don't think there was anybody that went 2 stops in any of the races. I think everybody had to do 3 stops.
Well, I was gonna. I had strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had race hards, and I went to race hards again. I'm going like, you know what? I can finish this race. I can finish this race.
Well, yeah, all of us
I got this. I have enough gas. I can finish this race in 1 stop. Look at this. I'm going to do this. And then I realized, I said,
I gotta change
no, I
tires.
can't. I said, I have to change tire compound. I said, I ain't got no choice. So about 21 minutes into a 25-minute race, I had to hit the pits and change into race softs.
It's only a 50-second or 100-second penalty.
Yeah, 100-second penalty. Yeah. I could get 100-second at taking off my time, and I still wouldn't win.
Yeah, with you having to go to race softs, there was. I tried a practice race trying to go 1 stop, and I was able to do it. I was about 4 seconds.
Vovik is on 2.
Yeah.
He must be on softs.
Yep, he's on softs, and he's probably going to go in. He'll be in the pits this time by.
Tap Out's on 3 and 6.
Yep. Now I pitted a lap before then.
Cape's doing a little bit better on tire management.
Yep. Not by much. He's down to 2 now.
Yeah, he's putting a little pressure.
So there goes. They're all going in. Everybody's
going in. Except some hard. Oh no! He's going in too. Oh, what a follower!
And this is where pit road is dangerous.
Oh, look at this!
Because you've got
Parcells. Yep.
Like I said, 2 laps ago he was in 10th. Now he's leading.
Wow, wow, look at that. And
Yep.
and look at, he's on 8 and 9.
Yeah, because he did his first 2 stints on race softs, so he's on race hards, and he's gonna be. Actually, no, he's on race softs again.
Yeah.
Wow, he pitted early with race softs.
And look at Penguin's second.
Yep.
But he's at 4 and 6.
Yeah, and Penguin hasn't done his second stop yet.
Oh, yeah.
So he still has to do one more.
And Parcells got half a tank.
Yep. Yeah, fuel was not an issue here. I think I was taking 30. Look at my notes. What was I doing? Yeah, I was taking 30 liters each pit stop, which was about the amount of time it took for tires. So looks like you and Euclid are. Or no, that's me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's me.
It is you.
Oh, and Vovik.
Vovik is back there. I think you're on lap traffic. I think that's lap traffic between you and. See Penguins up there in the white. And I think that's lap traffic. That was probably me.
No, I think that was Goofy.
Oh. Oh yeah, maybe. But there you go by Penguin. Penguin's still out there.
Okay, yeah, that is Goofy. That's behind him. So. I said there was so much changing of positions. It was really challenging to keep track of who was what where. Wow, that was a nice clean pass, Vovik. And Vovik's on fresh tires too.
Yep.
But that's a prime example of getting caught in the pits. Vovik was quite a bit ahead of me, and I pitted with nobody in front of me in the pits, and he got bogged down in the pit lane. And so when all was said and done, he was behind me on pit lane or back out on the track.
Was there any kind of pit penalty coming in to the pit or anything?
I didn't notice any this week, but then again, I wasn't full throttle into it. I was letting off just before it took over. I think I was when it took over, I was under 100.
Yeah, I didn't want to test it out.
Yeah, neither did I.
I don't know if anybody else did, but I certainly didn't want to test it out because I experienced that a couple times, and I really didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, a lot of these tracks where you have a flat out coming into it, looks like an update or two ago, you start getting hit with a 10-second penalty. It'll actually hold you in the pits if you come in too fast. So, and the only way you can test it is actually doing a race to test it out. So. But this race is going to go 17 laps, and it looks like it's getting real interesting up at the front. Parcells has now got company with Vovik and myself.
Oh, you look at your tires already. 5 and 8?
Yeah.
I'm ready to turn to 4. What is Parcells at? Oh, what is...
Yeah, I noticed.
what is he running? Is he running race hards? 8 and 5?
Yeah, he has to be. It says race softs, but I'm not sure about that. Because he pitted with 10 laps to go, so I think that's... Oh, that's right. We won't know what tires he's on because...
No, it doesn't correctly change.
He's on race hard, so...
Yeah, I was going to say he has to be.
Yeah. So here's a white flags coming out, and I was protecting the inside, and Vic made a nice move on the outside. Now keep in mind he has a lap fresher than me, and there was no way I was going to hold him. I had to surrender the position and hope that I could catch him somewhere else, but. Given that he had the fresher set of tires, a lap fresher, which is significant.
Yes. Let's see, Warden's in 5th.
Warden in one space going at it.
Yeah.
With Cape right behind it.
Cape right there, and
Grandpa's.
Yeah, look at that. Nice. All the way to the end.
And again, just gotta be careful not to
Ooh.
press that tire too hard. But this is that corner that you had to actually turn in blind. And boy, when you got it right, it felt really good. But if you were just a little bit off,
Boy, it'd bite you hard, wouldn't it?
yep.
Ooh, man.
Oh, will Cape get the?
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
Oh, oh, so close.
Wow, look at that. What a nice end.
Yeah, it's a shame you had to do a third stop or a second stop.
Yeah.
And I think Desert had to make an extra stop. I thought I saw the pit flash right by his name. Take a look at something real quick. Yeah, I think Desert was trying to go to two stops, and either he didn't make a tire compound change like you, or
Yeah.
because he had to dart in the pit at the very end. So,
Did he? That's too bad. Yeah.
yep.
I'm glad I remembered. It clicked finally before the end of the race, that's for sure.
Yeah, because you can't do it on the last lap. It'll just drive you right through if it's on the last lap. So you got to make that decision,
Yeah.
that realization soon. So, but all in all, another good race, especially to wrap up the season.
Yeah, it was a very good season, I thought, for the first season of the series.
Yep.
It went really well, and it definitely had its uniqueness compared to the Wednesday night race car series.
Yes, very much so. And considering how quickly we put it together, I was very happy with how smoothly it went.
Yeah,
What was it? 12 hours, and we had it figured out.
yeah, it came together fast when they give you the green light.
Yep.
You're going
It's
like,
like,
let's
oh,
do this.
I guess we are going to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I'm going like, oh, okay, because there was kind of a lull between
yep.
when we proposed it and when the green light was given. We had kind of like, I kind of give up on a little bit,
Yep.
or figured it would be put off or something.
I was glad to see it come to fruition, though. So you want to go ahead and pull up the standings, and we'll take a look at the season-ending results. As you can tell, Vovik just really dominated the series this season with a well-deserved championship with 198 wins out of the 12 races, and always had a podium finish every night. So he is a D1 guy, but one of the D1 guys that I really enjoy racing with. He's very patient and doesn't force things too much. And round out the top 10 was myself, Z, Tap Out. Even with the early struggles that he had with the tire rules, he still finished in fourth. Parcells, the lone Canadian, in the top 10, followed by Grandpa's Money, Warden, yourself, Cape Cod, and then Desert Penguin rounding out the top 10. So those top 10 drivers will be locked in for the first race of season 2, which starts on February 10th. And as of this recording, anyways, we're still we'll start the voting process for the next season cars, either the RX-7 or the Dodge Challenger touring cars. So that will be a interesting.
Yes, it will. I'm kind of interested to see how the voting turns out on that one.
Yep.
I don't think there's a loser in it.
No, I like both cars. So.
Yeah, I don't think there's a loser in it. Now, what happens to the loser? Does it get rolled on through, or what? Does it get put back in the pool, or how?
So
What do you do with that?
So unlike Wednesday night, where we're doing themes, so to speak, where you have all all very similar cars, whether it be all mid-engine cars or all front-wheel drive cars that are chosen for the, with the Tues.Series, we're going to have the car that does not win, that does not get selected, that car will get carried over to the next season's vote, and so a new car will come up. So it may not make it this round, but it may make it the next round, and so that way we, one, it cuts down on our testing that we have to do. We only have to test for one car as opposed to having to test for 2 cars for the season. So that'll make things a little bit easier to administer. But yeah, either the RX-7 or the Challenger, whichever one doesn't win, will be up for votes for season 3. So
Cool beans, man.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're going to sign this one out and put this one in the books then, huh?
Yeah.
And looking forward to season 2.
Very much so.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.
Yep.